Well, Sistas fans, the question is, what season had the best season finale cliffhanger ending? Now, if we're going by ratings alone, then the award goes to season 3's A Woman's Work, which got 1.05 million views. The Long Road, which was season 1, episode 25, got a 0.99, almost at a million, but not quite. And then episode 22 of season 2, In the Shadows, got a 0.84. So ratings alone, these seasons actually kind of line up the way I would rank them. I think that season 2 might have gotten that final. Well, then again, I hated that finale. So yeah, I guess I would rate it seasons 3, 1, and 2. But this video is breaking down all 3 season finales, not necessarily the entire episodes, but just the cliffhanger endings. And look, a lot of people have been saying, well, yeah, season 3 had a bunch of cliffhangers. True, but I count a cliffhanger ending as the final scene before the screen fades to black. So the things like Preston catching Danny, Gary coming out of the door on Robin and Andy, I don't count that. I only count the scene of Fatima beating the hell out of Hayden and then sicking 2 gangsters on him to beat him up in the car as she does a freaking model on the runway strut. She leaves Hayden to his fate. So before going into the breakdown, feel free to take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit the bell notification icon and select all, and hit subscribe. That way you keep up to date whenever I post content on the channel, as well as helping out because we are getting closer to 200,000 subscribers day by day. And to round things out, follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, if I'm not super lazy, it depends on how much time I want to devote to this. I might actually kind of like grab the scenes from the episodes where, you know, you have the feds storming in on Gary and Andy at the end of season 1, and then Jasmine shooting Gary and pointing a gun at Andy in season 2, and then of course, you know, Fatima getting the 2 guys to beat up on Hayden in season 3. But in my personal opinion, I made a post about this yesterday on Instagram, the YouTube community tab, and the Sistas Facebook group. I don't think it's just the hype surrounding Fatima and season 3 since the finale just happened, but I think that was the best ending. I think as an episode, season 1's finale had the best finale. Season 3 had the second best, but average finale. And then season 2 had just a downright worst finale. And I really feel like season 3 did a good job of keeping it kind of grounded. There are some who say that Fatima was out of character, but as we learned her backstory, no, she was not out of character. I feel like if nothing else, this took the show to another level, which season 4 should capitalize on. Now, when I look at a cliffhanger ending, it's debatable of what you could say of a great finale. Does the follow-up, in my opinion, the follow-up to a cliffhanger ending needs to be just as big as or should I say the resolution of the cliffhanger needs to be as important as the cliffhanger itself. Sure, the cliffhanger is there for shock value, but the follow-up is also important. That's why I think season 1 kind of falls, because season 1 was just like Tyler Perry movie level insane, where it felt like every single cop in Georgia, every FBI agent in DC stormed down to arrest Gary, and Andy just lost everything. It's pretty much showing you when, you know, you chase the wrong person, you can lose everything. And it really felt like, damn, Andy hit rock bottom. How is she going to come back from this? And, you know, we see her struggling during the early episodes of season 1, but thankfully she gets her life back. If I'm not mistaken, she was like staying with Sabrina for a little while because of the fact that her apartment had been basically raided by the FBI, her office at work, her car. I mean, if I remember correctly, the guy who was like Gary's financial advisor or banker made like this huge transfer to her account, and then swept up all of her money. Basically, Andy only had the clothes she was wearing on her back and the shoes on her feet, which weren't comfortable because she had to make a long walk until that one agent helped her out. Now, I think the story faltered because it's like, okay, I get it. When a woman chases after the wrong person, or a man chases after the wrong person, let's be real, it goes both ways. But mainly since it's Sistas, when a woman chases the wrong man, especially a married one, things don't end out good and you lose everything. However, Andy, it's kind of like the story of Job in the Bible where, you know, Satan was telling God, like, hey, I can get this man who's faithful to curse your name if I take everything away from him. And this was a guy who had a big family. He was wealthy. He was kind. He was God-fearing. He loved God. Satan took all that away, even his health, but he still wouldn't curse God. And then next thing you know, God blessed him with even more than he had before. I've always thought that was weird, though. It's like, what if, you know, Job told his new children about his old one. It's like, what happened to your old family, Daddy? Oh, Satan and God had a competition and they all died, and I got you instead. What? But in any case, it's just one of those situations where, okay, I get where Tyler Perry is going with the story of Andy, how there are women out there who are like Andy, but it's like, at what point does a woman say, okay, this is way more than I bargained for? I mean, hell, if a man, you know, gets arrested by the cops, a woman will be like, you know, I'm not saying every woman, but, you know, if a man gets arrested, you know, for such and such by the cops, it's like, okay, you know what, I'll wait for you. Or, you know what, hey, this is too much. You said you never get locked up again, but here you are doing some dumb shit. But you have the freaking government taking everything you have, and yet you still try to vouch for this man. It's stupid. Season 2, my boo Jasmine showed up. If I remember correctly, I think the previews actually spoiled Jasmine's cliffhanger ending. So it's kind of like, oh, damn. But Gary takes a couple bullets to the chest and falls down on the bathroom floor. Then she points the gun at Andy. Holy crap. Then we follow up with Andy being a Mary Sue because she actually knocks out Jasmine, I think, with her laptop. But the thing about it is the setup made no sense. Wasn't Jasmine supposed to be arrested with her girls for jumping Andy in the parking lot? Then on top of that, her gun ran out of bullets. I forgot what it was, but either way, I think that Gary said he replaced the bullets because he knew at some point Jasmine would, you know, break. I didn't really mind that explanation because it made sense, but it's just like, okay, Tyler Perry, you did the same crap in the haves and the have-nots with the quail hunting bullets on Jim and Catherine. But Andy literally was about to take a bullet to the face, and the thing about it is we really don't see it affect her. I mean, Andy just went through some big things in season 1. The government arrested her boyfriend and took everything from her. And then she got it back and Gary was able to prove his innocence. And then in season 2, his crazy ex-wife tried to kill them both. And Andy doesn't even like bat an eye. It's like she's shown more emotion and rage towards Gary for accusing her of cheating or actually coming out as a cheater himself than his ex-wife trying to murder them. Then being, you know, arrested by, it's like, you know, all the shit you put me through. It's like, Andy, I'm glad you're standing up for yourself now, 3 seasons in, but this is way too overdue. So I feel like both of those season finales kind of fall flat. But the season 3 finale, on the other hand, Fatima only had like a couple of scenes in the episode with Zach, you know, when he gets back home that night to explain the Karen and Hayden situation the next morning, where she reassures Zach that she would handle it. And then the very last scene where she approaches Hayden, and there was this eerie feeling about Fatima because she was strangely calm. And it's like, okay, a calm woman is more deadlier and dangerous than an angry one. And Fatima proved that. I mean, she just sashayed her way into Hayden's car and said, hey, are you going to leave me and Zach alone? No. Bah! And then out of nowhere, he slaps her, and I said, like, look, I don't condone it, but she did hit him several times before he finally did. Next thing you know, she whistled. 2 guys came in. One helped her out of the car and then beat the ever-living hell out of Hayden. So we know he's going to end up on crutches. But in any case, what I felt this did was it like showed us what Fatima was really capable of, or at least a taste of it. This hit me with the same level of shock as the haves and the have-nots, where I can't remember the exact episode, but if you can bear with me, I'm actually going to try to pull it up right now. And it was the episode, it was I know it's technically season 1, but when it aired, it was season 2, the mid-season finale. It was the scene where it was the middle of the night, and in the park on a bench, Jim met with Candace, and they had a sit down. I think it was the episode. Which was it? I think it was season 1, episode 26, entitled "Starting the Race." That's where Candace goes to a campaign office during a party for Jim and David, and she literally tries to expose them. And as a result, Jim takes, that's when she tells everybody she's pregnant. So they meet up in the park at night. He's like, look, I'll give you everything you want. And the Malones actually scoop her up. I think they use chloroform or something, or morphine, or I forgot what it was, but they put a cloth over her mouth, and that basically knocked her out. And then they took her away, and then Jim just got up and walked away. I felt that episode was a major turning point in the show, because it showed that Jim wasn't all talk. He has connections, and he's not afraid to use them. I feel like it's the same thing for Fatima when she did that to Hayden. It's like, oh damn, like she did tell Zach, she did tell Hayden, look, I'm crazy. If I get to a certain point, there's no turning back, so don't make me go there. And we learned in her backstory, I posted that video last night. She comes from a family who was in the drug game. They had a lot of power, a lot of money, but they're not in the game anymore. That's why she's studying law. She wants to be a lawyer. So if her family gets into legal trouble, she's able to help them out. Meaning that despite the family no longer being in the drug game, that doesn't mean she doesn't have those connections anymore. And as a result, she did that to take out Hayden. And I'm like, okay, now we definitely need to tune in to see Fatima, what she's going to do next. And I think that does a great job of setting up what's to come. And in the behind the scenes look in the trailer for season 4, we know Hayden isn't dead, but at the same time, I feel like this felt like a more grounded cliffhanger ending as opposed to season 1, which was way over the top. And you just set the bar so high, so when you get the follow-up to that story, it kind of fizzled out because it didn't live up to the cliffhanger ending of season 1 and season 2 when the story continued. Season 2, you kind of just randomly wrote Jasmine out. I'm not saying she had to stick around. Look, I love me Crystal Lee, and you all know that, but there really wasn't too much you could do with the character, because the thing about season 1 that also made it flop is you had Leslie, Morris. Leslie was never mentioned or seen again. And Morris, all the things that happened with Gary, being cleared of his charges, Morris and Jasmine and Bellamy being exposed, all of that happened off screen. And that needed to be on screen to really feel the impact of the season 1 finale. Now, in season 3, it seems like we're actually going to move forward with what's happening next. I mean, with season 2, the only follow-up we have is Jasmine being in jail and having a lawsuit against Andy and the girls, but all that's been background stuff we've never seen. The most we've seen was Karen getting the first letter, telling the girls about it, Andy saying she'll handle it, but we've never seen her handle it. Apparently, Karen got a second letter. That's why she went directly to Andy at the law firm, and that's the Fatima standoff scene, but we never got follow-up on that either. So, as of right now, I think that season 3 had the best finale, and it's kind of ironic because I know it's another weird example, but it reminds me of the Pokemon League in the anime. Ash lost, every time Charizard was his last Pokemon. He lost against Richie. He lost against Harrison's Blaziken. Then next thing you know, in Hoenn and Sinnoh, Pikachu lost to Meowth and Boots. It lost to Latios. And then in Gen 5, it lost to Lucario. And basically, Ash Greninja lost to Charizard, but then he had Lycanroc, and he won. So it's like, Tyler, for the first 2 seasons, he stuck with Andy being the cliffhanger ending. He stuck with Andy being the cliffhanger ending in season 2. But then he switched it up with Fatima in season 3. And yes, the Hayden scene was a hell of a lot stronger than Gary showing up after the sex night that Robin and Andy had. That would not have been a strong enough finale. Even though it's kind of ironic how in the last season Jasmine appeared out of the shadows, and then Gary appeared out of the shadows in season 3. So it was like, well, no, for Tima and Hayden, that was the best cliffhanger ending. And based on all the comments I've received across social media, people say season 3 is indeed the best. That's not to say season 2 and season 1 didn't have fans. There are some people who commented, but it's an overall landslide. Season 3 had the best season finale. Now, I hope the follow-up does well, but as of right now, my vote's with season 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, like and subscribe. It does help the channel in more ways than you can imagine. And if you would like to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.